Hello, and welcome to Where the Good Songs Go. I'm Ian Silverman, the artistic director of the series, and I'm excited to lead you through this exploration of George Gershwin's 1921 musical, A Dangerous Maid, the first musical he wrote in collaboration with his brother, Ira Gershwin. During this time of tremendous turmoil in the performing arts world, our organization has worked to present something new, exciting, educational, and entertaining to bring some light into these dark times. If you haven't already, please like us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel to stay in the loop for future content. And if you are able, please donate using the donate link below and information found on our Facebook page to help us raise money for artists dealing with cancellations due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Anything that you can give will be of a tremendous help. In early 1920, the Gershwin brothers wrote a song, Waiting for the Sun to Come Out, for The Sweetheart Shop, a musical produced by Edgar McGregor, who purchased the song for only $250. This was to be their first song together, so George convinced Ira to use a pseudonym so that people would not be turned off by their familial connection. Ira chose the name Arthur Francis, derived from the names of his two youngest siblings. He would use this pen name until 1924. The Sweetheart Shop received mediocre reviews and closed after 55 performances. Waiting for the Sun to Come Out, however, was a modest success in sheet music and record sales, and must have encouraged the brothers to continue their collaboration. Less than a year later, Edgar McGregor approached the team and asked them to write a complete score for a new musical titled A Dangerous Maid, based on Charles W. Bell's 1918 play The Dislocated Husband. Bell was known for bedroom farces such as Parlor, Bedroom, and Bath, and was already on board to supply the book. At this point, the cat was out of the bag, as McGregor knew of the Gershwins' relationship to each other. And in Ira's own words, he was resigned to being George's brother. Ira would still use the pen name for the show, however. A Dangerous Maid would be the brothers' first book musical together, and only George's second in total, after his first attempt in 1919 with La La Lucille. Like La La Lucille, A Dangerous Maid is structured as a 3-act farce with music. It was even billed as a music play. Unfortunately, Bell's script has been lost or is currently unavailable, as is the case with much of the music from George's early shows. But we are fortunate enough to have found 7 of the 10 songs that the Gershwins wrote for the show, and will present them to you here all in one place for the first time in just under a century. A Dangerous Maid debuted in Atlantic City on March 21st, 1921, staged by McGregor himself. In their review, Variety noted that the spirit of the piece is the plea of youth for happiness. The difference from the average musical comedy model consists mostly in the way the drama of the plot is sustained, the musical numbers and dances not being permitted to obtrude irreverently upon the main scheme of conveying a human story of love and sentiment. After Atlantic City, the show traveled to Wilmington, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., and Pittsburgh, all the while setting its sights on the Great White Way. The show received fairly positive reviews throughout, and the music was regarded as charming and catchy. But despite this, on April 16th, the show closed in Pittsburgh, supposedly because of money problems that McGregor faced. But despite this, McGregor was not yet ready to give up on the show. He retitled it Elsie, and brought in a new team of writers to fashion an entirely new musical score. This might sound similar to the fate that Rodgers and Hart faced with Poor Little Ritz Girl, but in the Gershwins' case, all of their music was thrown out. The married couple composing team of Monte Carlo and Alma Sanders was brought in, but eventually the composing team of U.B. Blake and Noble Sissel was hired to supplement the score. Sissel and Blake were riding the highs of their recent success with Shuffle Along. This new show, titled Elsie, would make it to Broadway 2 years later in 1923 and is the subject of our next video. It will be one not to be missed. Now let's begin our exploration of George and Ira Gershwin's A Dangerous Maid. Harry Hammond is the wealthy, good-natured, but spoiled son of very well-to-do Eleanor and Philip Hammond, a prominent construction business tycoon. Harry is totally smitten with 18-year-old Elsie Crofton, a musical comedy chorus girl who most recently was performing with the Glowworm Company. Elsie is fully accomplished in all the wiles that captivate men, but adores Harry and is willing to abandon her career plans and tie the knot. The couple elope, but Harry's haughty parents learn of the marriage only through newspaper reports. We next meet Harry's sister Margery and her fiancé Fred Blakely. They sing a love duet. In the original production, Margery and Fred were performed by Juanita Fletcher and Vinton Friedley, the latter of whom would go on to become one of Broadway's most successful show producers, doing the honors, in fact, for 7 of the Gershwin brothers' future shows, including Girl Crazy, OK, and Lady Be Good. He would go on to perform in Elsie, but this time switched to the role of Harry instead of Fred. But there is more to the story. This song, Anything for You, was thought to be permanently lost for decades. Then, in the early 1990s, Friedley's daughter found it among her father's papers. It was recorded in 1996 by singer-historian Michael Feinstein and proved itself to be a veritable Gershwin charmer. Here is Aidan Smerud and Lauren Nash Silberstein as Fred Blakely and Margery Hammond singing Anything for You.
I've one aim in life, and that is winning you. If you'll be my wife, there's nothing I won't do to bring you joy, dear. I'll be your boy, dear, to do the darndest, all he could, to be your Walter Raleigh. Just tell me what to do, I'll more than see it through. Dear, I'll do anything for you. I'll buy insurance from your brother. I'll even learn to like your mother. With you I'll always brave the bargain sales you crave. I'll be your everlasting slave. And if the cook should get too frisky, although the task is rather risky, you'll find that I myself will tell her she is through. Dear, I'll do anything for you. Pick out my cravats, you'll be my connoisseur of spats. I'll even smoke cigars you buy me.
Harry's family considers Elsie a threat to their exalted social position. Something must be done, a sentiment voiced by all, but by none more vehemently than Harry's sharp-tongued mother. Fred hatches a plan whereby Philip, Harry's father, conjures up an emergency building crisis that, much to Elsie's dismay, necessitates Harry's leaving town for several weeks. Driven perhaps by the recognition that George Gershwin was an antidote on Broadway to the more old-fashioned, old-world musical stylings of Europe, the prevailing opinion in many theatrical circles is that the composer disliked the waltz. Apparently, this was not the case, although many of the 3/4 songs he did write have a mocking nature to them. His first published true waltz, he had written some previous tunes in 6/8, was here in A Dangerous Maid, with Just to Know You Are Mine. The tone here, however, is quite genuine, as it reflects Elsie's dismay over learning that Harry is being sent off on a construction project by her new father-in-law. The role of Elsie in the original Atlantic City production was played by Juliette Day, whose Broadway career never took off. By the time the show got to Pittsburgh, its final stop, she was replaced with the already established Vivian Segal, whose career would later skyrocket with The Desert Song, I Married an Angel, and Pal Joey. Here is our Elsie, Sophie Thompson, singing Just to Know You Are Mine.
All gloom and sorrow ended when I knew you loved me. Two hearts in one were blended for all eternity. We live a wonderful dream, happiness reigning supreme, for there can be no sighing when love, dear, is undying. Just to know that you are mine in all your splendor brings a feeling that's divine, so true and tender. Shadows disappear when I know you're near. Just to hear your voice makes me rejoice. When I feel your fond caress, then life is sweet, dear. With the greatest happiness I've ever known. It makes living complete, dear. Just to know that you are mine alone. Just to know that you are mine in all your splendor brings a feeling that's divine, so true and tender. Shadows disappear when I know you're near. Just to hear your voice makes me rejoice. When I feel your fond caress, then life is sweet, dear. With the greatest happiness I've ever known. It makes living complete, dear. Just to know that you are mine alone. Just to know you are mine alone.
Harry's family invites Elsie to pass the time with them at their Idlewild, New York summer home, where they all will be joined by Margery, Fred, and family friends Alfie and Anne Westford. After initially extending Elsie parental blessings and a warm welcome, the family will do everything it can to make life so disagreeable for her that she will long for the stage and leave Harry. On top of this, they will parade some attractive men in her path, hoping to entrap her in some kind of romance with another man, specifically Fred. Upon Harry's return and discovery of his wife's infidelity, as the plan goes, he will want to leave Elsie. Elsie is joined at the summer home by her chorus girlfriends, Teddy, Toots, Babe, and Bunny, who make it clear that they seek the same love that Elsie has found in Harry. Of the 10 songs that the Gershwins wrote for A Dangerous Maid, the only one that had any significant post-show shelf life was this one, titled Boy Wanted. If there was any doubt that the Gershwin brothers were going to bring a new sound to Broadway, this one settled the case. Gershwin biographer Howard Pollack speaks of its remarkable main theme that floats pentatonically over the range of an octave, as if untethered to any meter. 3 years later, in 1924, George pulled it out of his trunk for use in his British musical Primrose. The song received a big boost when Ella Fitzgerald recorded it in 1959 with a revised lyric by Ira. Here is the female company of A Dangerous Maid singing Boy Wanted.
I just finished writing an advertisement calling for a boy. No half-hearted radio or flirtament. That's the kind I'm not employ. For anybody interested can apply. He must know a thing or two to qualify. For instance, he must be able to dance. He must make life a romance. I said a boy wanted one who can smile. Boy wanted love of style. He must be tender and true, and he must know how to woo. I know we'll get acquainted very soon, out in a garden neath the harvest moon. And if he proves to be a bright little laddie, I'll make him gladly answer my head to be the boy of my choice. He needn't own a Rolls Royce, the kind of boy wanted needn't have gold. Boy wanted mustn't be cold. If he has oodles of charm, I'll even live on a farm. If he fits in my picture of a home, I'll be so nice and never want to roam. Yes, if he proves to be the right little laddie, I'll make him glad he answered my ad. He must like musical shows, and he must wear snappy clothes.
Elsie arrives, none the wiser to the family scheming that awaits her. As she relates to Fred, she finds the countryside idyllic compared to the hectic life of her past theater days. She sings a duet with him. When it comes to rhyming, ask any lyricist. It's not so easy as choosing a word and pulling out a rhyming dictionary to find its mate. Ira's rhyme schemes run the gamut from the truly inspired, with "He made his home in that fish's abdomen" in the 1935 Porgy and Bess, to perhaps the cringe-inducing in the 1930 musical Girl Crazy. There's a chap I know in Mexico who's as strong as he can be, eating nails and drinking Texaco. In A Dangerous Maid, we settled for something in between. Ira had an affection throughout his career for multi-syllable rhymes. In this number, The Simple Life, we are treated to "I am ready now to say goodbye to hectic nights, and to leave without a single sigh electric lights." Here is Sophie and Aidan singing The Simple Life.
I've been all along the gay white way. There I often turned the night to day. So when coming to the country, I was sure I'd find it would be an awful bore, but I've changed my mind. With the gay and giddy whirl I'm through. I would rather be a simple Sue. I love the simple life. I'm here to stay, away from care and strife. I'm making hay. I love the humming of the bees. I love the birdies. I'll say it's great to be away from hurdy-gurdies. Beside a babbling brook, I love to sit and read my cooking book, or else I knit. The life of Riley was praised very highly, but the simple life for me.
If everything you say is really so, I will leave the town where subways go. I am ready now to say goodbye to hectic nights, and to leave without a single sigh. Electric light, Rector's Healy's with you, all I'm through. And that goes for Greenwich Village too. I love the simple life. I'm here to stay, away from care and strife. I'm making hay. I love to chase the butterflies and watch them flutter. I think the greatest exercise is churning butter. And when the day is done, I love to rest and watch the golden sun sink in the west. The life of Riley was praised very highly, but the simple life for me.
No sooner has Elsie settled into the bucolic life than the family scheme begins to go awry. Harry's father, Philip, is totally won over by Elsie's seductive charms. Then Fred falls hard for her. Alfie follows suit as Anne finds in her husband's pocket a love letter from Elsie that, in Anne's mind, is grounds for divorce. All the while, Eleanor, Margery, and Anne are becoming increasingly furious at both their mate's behavior and Elsie's coquettish ways. In 1911, there opened on Broadway a musical titled The Siren, adapted from a Viennese operetta by Leo Fall. This takeoff on the Greek mythological sirens who hung out on island hilltops and lured sailors to their deaths was attractive fodder for Broadway songwriters. The Gershwins had two notable examples, the first being the wondrous Lorelei from their 1933 musical Pardon My English, and this song from A Dangerous Maid titled The Sirens, which was their first example of choral writing. When the show failed to make it to Broadway, the Gershwins stashed it away, and as they did with Boy Wanted discussed earlier, brought it back to life in their 1924 Primrose. This time under the title Four Little Sirens, and with the barest of modifications. In spirit, you will hear how it harks back to Gilbert and Sullivan's Three Little Maids from the Mikado. Here is the female company of A Dangerous Maid once again singing The Sirens.
Sirens free, making the mermen fall for us. We never throw in the sea, but we work as well as any sirens of mythology. Four little sirens free, making the mermen call for us. We never swim in the sea, still we get along quite swimmingly. It's bad to pun, it isn't being done, but still we get along quite swimmingly. If you should come along the beach, if you should come with me on the beach, take care, beware, for though your fingers may be crossed, your heart still tells you that you're lost. For John, you're gone, for we are beautiful, we're too differential, with charm reversible, we'll get to one and all is one and all. Your grace personified, our forms are modified, so you will linger on the shore, fall by the score, without a fuss, and when the waves go very wild, you'll find them wild compared to us. Each one of us works a different plan to catch the poor fish known as man.
The men all follow me. My popularity depends on something stronger than tea.
My method, I'll confess, has brought me great success. It's simply knowing how to say yes.
When I see a big wave coming, I just murmur, "Oh, sir, I'm afraid, so won't you cuddle closer?"
My work is never rough, no Theta Bera stuff. I find a baby stare is enough.
Four little sirens we, making the mermaid fall for us, making the mermaid call for us, making the sailor call for us. Four little sirens we.
At some point, mesmerized by Elsie's charms, Fred breaks rank and tells her the family's plot. She decides to get her revenge on the family by intensifying her flirting with all the males. In 1914, the 15-year-old George Gershwin secured a job in Manhattan with the Remick Music Corporation as a song plugger. That is, someone who a music publisher hires to play for them for evaluation purposes the myriad of songs submitted for publication. During his 3-year stint there, probably in 1916, George penned a tune titled Dancing Shoes. 5 years later, with a lyric added by Ira, it was inserted here in A Dangerous Maid, as a duet for Fred and Elsie. Labeled by one historian as an exciting and adventurous song, its melodic and rhythmic palette anticipates the iconic Ray Henderson tune, The Birth of the Blues, from the George White scandals of 1926. Even back in 1921, in fact back in 1916 when he first wrote the tune, George was laying the future for his unassailable role in shaping the sound of Broadway in the Roaring Twenties. Here is Sophie and Aidan once again singing Dancing Shoes.
Dancing shoes make you treasure every measure of a raggy strain. Dancing shoes bring a gladness and a madness that go to your brain. They will make you frolic, lose the diabolic, weary, melancholic blues. If the world's again you, show there's something in you, try a pair of dancing shoes, and you'll start to sway in a gay sort of way. In a trance you'll dance and lose your doggone blues. Oh boy, then joy fills the air, not a care anywhere, for there's magic in a pair of dancing shoes.
You start to sway in a gay sort of way. In a trance, you dance and lose your doggone blues. Oh boy, then joy fills the air, not a care anywhere, for there's magic in a pair of dancing shoes.
After 3 weeks, Harry returns to find, to his great consternation, that Elsie has apparently developed into a total romantic tease. She has seemingly undermined the impending marriage of Margery and Fred, has made Anne furious by professing, through the letter, her affection for Alfie, and has gone swimming with her father-in-law. Harry expresses his disgust with the situation as Elsie, disenchanted with his lack of trust in her and the scheming of his family, decides to leave him. Our final selection from A Dangerous Maid was also written by George during his time as a Remick song plugger. With lyrics added by Ira in 1921, it became the second published song jointly by the brothers. It received no attention in the press, but was performed on a radio program on July 11th, 1953, to commemorate the 16th anniversary of George's passing, by performing several of his hits that missed. Here is Sophie Thompson singing Some Rain Must Fall.
Recited once when I was small, into every life some rain must fall. I was a little child of 10 whose days were never gloomy. My life was filled with sunshine then, and sorrow never knew me. So the thought meant nothing then to me. Older, wiser now I plainly see. Some some rain must fall.
After her ballad finishes, Elsie reveals that the love letter found in Alfie's pocket was in fact a copy of one that she had written to Harry during his absence. By this time, all the males in the house have been totally won over by Elsie. The females, not at all. When Elsie's chorus girlfriends come to visit her at the mansion, she asks that they take her away with them. Harry seems willing to let her go, but tells her that he awaits the day when she comes back to him. He sits down at the table with his head in his arms. Elsie takes her coat, heads for the door, but turns around for one last look at her husband. The coat comes off as she confesses her undying love for Harry and admits to her knowledge of the family's plot, and specifically the duplicity of the women, who, finally won over themselves, contritely welcome her into the family. I hope you've enjoyed this journey through George Gershwin's A Dangerous Maid. Join us next time as we explore its evolution into Elsie, with music and lyrics by U.B. Blake and Noble Sissel, and Monte Carlo and Alma Sanders. Until next time, thanks for joining us. Where the good songs go.